What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Left Lane Reviews. This week, I have for you the 2015 Subaru Outback. It's the touring trim with the 3.6-liter high-output V6. Outback was designed to tackle two tasks. One is to be comfy and quiet on the road, and then capable and dependable off the road. Now, starting at $37,000, this vehicle competes with the Audi Allroad and the Volvo V90. If you're looking for the best and cheapest price and probably the most reliable, I would go with the Outback. If you're looking for the most luxury, probably the Volvo. And then if you're looking for just German engineering, go with the Allroad. The redesigned 2015 Subaru Outback represents the latest version of the company's popular family truckster. It retains abundance of cargo space, standard all-wheel drive, and impressive ground clearance. An affordable price tag, but Subaru has stepped up the Outback's game with even more space, better fuel economy, nicer cabin materials, and some tech upgrades. The Outback is a 5-passenger crossover wagon offered in 4 trim levels, a 2.5-liter Premium, 2.5-liter Limited, and a 3.6-liter Limited. Now, if you're wondering why you would choose this over a traditional SUV, the Subaru Outback is a wagon, but because of its off-road utility, high ground clearance, and standard all-wheel drive system, it lines up better against SUVs and crossovers. Among SUVs, the Outback differentiates itself by offering all-wheel drive as standard, where it can run up as extra costs as many other SUVs. For example, the Ford Edge or the Jeep Grand Cherokee. And the Outback is more than $1,000 cheaper than the least expensive all-wheel drive version of its competitors. Also gets a larger trapezoidal grille than other Subarus, where along with restyled headlights and the base of the windshield has been moved down forward 2 inches and the side mirrors were moved down to the door from the windshield pillar. Outback comes with 2 engine options. If you're looking for your best economy and don't really care about passing power, go for the 2.5-liter Boxster. But if you don't care about fuel economy and want to go the 0 to 60 in the fastest, then go with the 3.6-liter flat 6. It's paired both with the 6-speed CVT that is good for 20 miles in the city and 27 on the highway. The 6-cylinder Outback easily passes on the highway and accelerates away from stop signs with more purpose than the 4-cylinder. But the biggest benefit is heard rather than felt. Because the engine doesn't have to strain to move the weight of the Outback, it's noticeably quieter. That helps the otherwise rugged Outback better compete with European luxury wagons in terms of interior noise and general refinement. Now stepping into the Outback, the step-in height is not high at all, so it's easy to get right in. And then with the touring, you just put your foot on the brake and then push the push button start, and it starts right up. There's that nice classic Subaru chime. So now with this being the touring trim, Subaru threw everything at it with a nice leather materials, heated seats, a very nice and updated Starlink, and a leather-wrapped steering wheel. Now with Subaru being mainly about safety, they've tried to put as many controls as they can on the steering wheel so the driver never has to take his eyes off the wheel. So for example, you have your audio controls to turn up the volume and switch the track, for your voice assistant, and then source to answer the call and decline it. There's also stuff behind the steering wheel. And then over on this side, you have your controls for your adaptive cruise control. There's also steering wheel mounted paddle shifters for the 6-speed CVT. Very clear and easy to read gauge cluster. Its large windows give the cabin a very open and airy feel. There's more headroom and plenty of legroom. There's also a new fake wood that adds a very nice touch to the thing with brushed aluminum/steel. For 2015, Subaru updated their Starlink system. They made it more intuitive and a lot easier and quicker responsiveness. You have a pretty easy layout and touchscreen buttons on the side that don't actually give you any haptic feedback. There is navigation available in this Outback, and then you can go to your audio to look at your sources. And in the bottom right, you have the settings for everything from your Bluetooth to your vehicle customization. You also have a little icon for apps for Pandora and another music player. There's a shortcut to get right to the map if you need to do it really quick. There's also info for the weather, the vehicle monitor, and then the fuel, if there's anything around, but you need to be described to SXM. It also has a very cool vehicle monitor. Then below the screen you have your controls for your climate control. So now for the driver's seat, there is a 10-way power adjustable with 3-zone heated. And then if you follow me to the rear, it comes back to a very nice and plenty of room back here with plenty of headroom. And it is a 60-40 split. There is the same leather materials as you find in the front and also heated seats. 3 adults could comfortably fit in the back seat without many complaints, which is a rarity in this segment. So now if you're buying this vehicle for its cargo space, you just push the button right there and then the trunk will upfold for itself. And then there is 35.5 inches of cubic feet with cargo space with the rear seats up, but 73.3 feet of cargo space when they're folded down. So now, let's take it for a drive. So now, behind the wheel of the Outback, the first thing that I noticed is that the throttle is pretty touchy when you're first taking off, and the steering is very heavy at low speeds. Other than that, there's plenty of room and everything that you can see, so you're not really missing out anything, and it's easy to see like the curves. But with long body proportions and 8.7 inches of ground clearance, it drives more like an SUV than a crossover or a wagon. So it does, and light steering and definitely squishy brakes doesn't give you the confidence that you want to kind of carve around the roads or to really drive quickly in any situation. So now that we're on a dirt road, we can talk about the Outback and how this falls in the category of a soft roader. So that means this vehicle, even though it's capable, rarely ever leaves pavement. It has Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system that splits power 50-50 between the front and the rear axle at all times, and it also has a new mode called X mode for the all-wheel drive. That works with kind of the ABS to try to get you the best when you're really stuck, to try to get you out of it. And then it also works with your throttle, transmission, all-wheel drive system, and vehicle dynamic control system. So now with Subaru being mainly about safety, they threw a lot at this. They have EyeSight, which is 2 cameras that watches and scans the road ahead of you, and it also works with brake assist, pedestrian warning, and I believe large animals. It has blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, and also a backup camera. You'll see it was kind of pushed back in my seat because, as I said, the touchy throttle. Right now we're on a dirt road. I just wanted to see how comfortable it was. And there's some pretty big potholes that we're going through, and it's nothing too bad, definitely nothing jarring and like throwing you around inside the cabin. But the seats definitely don't hold you pretty well. I mean, I wouldn't expect it to. This is nothing like a WRX or something. Now, if you're wondering where the Outback falls in the Subaru lineup, it's just basically a raised Legacy with roomier legroom in the rear and a new hexagonal grille and round fog lights and also stowable crossbars. It's definitely a great New England car.